Okay.
So it is a public hearing.
So it is a public hearing, we'll follow the rules.
Yeah, we better follow the rules.
We didn't recognize that was my thumbs.
That's why I asked you.
Yep, and I didn't see it at where it normally is, but it was moved down just a little bit, so yes, we did do it last year. We better follow the rules.
Good evening. Welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. This is our 1 and 6 Road and Bridge Improvement Program hearing. I'm Chair Krista Yoakum. To my right is Vice Chair Sean Flowerday. To my left is Commissioner Rick Vest, and to my far left is Commissioner Matt Schulte. Mr. Clerk, would you please begin with the location announcements?
Of course. Location or announcement of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall of the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed at the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Which brings us to our first item, the public hearing for the 1 and 6 year road and bridge improvement program for fiscal years 2024 and 2025 through 2029.
We will now open the public hearing.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Good evening. This is actually my 9th 1 and 6 presentation. So I joked with someone in the parking garage earlier tonight that it's kind of like prom for engineers. They didn't understand, but it's okay. So I wanted to take a quick moment tonight to acknowledge my staff. A lot of people don't realize county engineering isn't Pam Dingman. It is 115 dedicated staff members that do everything from mow road ditches to do our engineering design, hydraulics, and structural design. John Berry, and if you can just give a wave. John Berry is our county surveyor. Larry Legg is the assistant county engineer. Ron Bohati is our maintenance superintendent. John Limbo is our project manager in charge of roads. Monet McCullen helps us out with all of our data, and we have a lot of data. Bob Larson, I joked that he's the bridge crew, but he says he wants to be the grading crew, so I'm going to let it slide tonight. Roger Husenfeld is the maintenance superintendent for the southern half of Lancaster County. Mike Hawley works in our surveying department, managing the surveyors. Nick Bowler is one of our newer engineers, along with Jenna Vogt, is one of our newest licensed engineers. We have Rachel Christopher with us tonight from Long Range Planning and Planning Department. Jordan Whiff is our special projects and bridge project manager. Alex Olson is our right-of-way manager. And the newest member of our engineering team is Ashley. And I'm really glad that they could all join us tonight. Just a quick note, as always, I'm Pam Dingman, and this is my contact information. The public is always welcome to contact me with any concerns about roads or bridges. The number shown on the slide is answered 24 hours a day by an answering service, so if there is a need, that you can get that taken care of. Lancaster County has 288 bridges or bridge length box culverts. We have 43 miles of dirt road. We have over 1,000 miles of gravel roads, and we have 290 miles of pavement. And what I'm showing you on the screen is actually Southwest 14th Street as a gravel road, and then of course as a paved road. And I'd like to say I think it looks so much sexier paved, right? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that as an engineer, but it is pretty awesome. Hopefully it will. There we go. We also have approximately 1,000 box culverts with an under 20-foot span and 6,900 pipe culverts, including driveway pipe culverts. Our maintenance operations consist of several storage locations, 13 buildings around the county, countywide tree removals, winter maintenance, and a rock quarry. In addition to that, we repair all of the vehicles for the county, and we're also the county gas station. We take care of approximately 101 residential subdivisions, totaling 2,823 residential lots. Some of the challenges we faced in the last year have been supply chain and labor shortages, driving up our project costs, vehicles and equipment being out of service, for extended periods of time, continued open positions and inflation. You've all seen this chart before. This is what construction inflation was for the last year and what the gap is for Lancaster County critical needs on an annual basis. If I'm to roll right into our bridges, hey, there's good news. Commissioner Flowerday, you asked me a couple weeks ago what was our max number of bridges closed, and it was 28. It's not 28 today. As you're looking at this map, what you're seeing is we continue to reduce the number of scour critical and scour susceptible bridges we have on our overall system, which is good. It gives us more reliability and resilience to our system. It's going to be a continued goal to get those scour critical bridges either fixed or replaced. We do still have 6 closed bridges around Lancaster County. I don't know if I want to jinx it. That is really probably an 7-year, at least 7-year low since 2015. One bridge is slated for repair is R202. 2 bridges that are currently under construction, E38, that we expect to be able to open hopefully before it really gets to be winter. Hopefully winter doesn't come early. S180, if we don't get a rainstorm this week, there's a really good chance we're going to be able to open up Roca Road on Friday, so we're excited. We have 2 bridges that have been designed and were funded in our current year's budget, Q110 and X129. They're currently closed. And then lastly, we have one bridge, A79, probably had about 10 cars a day on it when it was open, that we haven't figured out what to do with that one yet. We continue to reduce the number of poor bridges on our system. Poor bridges are what the Federal Highway Administration says that we should replace rather than repair. We're down to 18, and that also is significantly lower than it has been in the past. We're continuing to focus on the bridges that are in that fair category, because if they're getting to the bottom of fair, we don't want them to slip into poor, with some really aggressive maintenance programs that I'll talk about later. Once this year's budget money is expended on bridges, we expect to have 11 structurally deficient, 1 functionally obsolete, 25 that are scour susceptible, 4 scour critical, and only 13 with a poor rating. So that's definitely showing that we're making progress to our bridge challenges. One of the bridges that we're still working on and is scheduled for replacement is R184 on Roca Road. We were really hopeful that the crew could move right from S180 to R184. They've had some mechanical issues with their equipment this week, as well as several of their employees want to go home for the winter. And so we're probably not going to get to that till the spring. Nevertheless, we have a plan and we have a contractor on board. Here's a picture of Bridge S180. Bridge S180 is the largest box culvert we've constructed to date in Lancaster County. It is a quad barrel 4x4, so that means its span is more than 48 feet. If you want to go out and see it before it gets covered in dirt and concrete and maybe looks less impressive than these photos, contact one of the staff members and we'd be happy to take you out to take a look at it. We also finished up this last year Bridge E171. This was a county bridge match program. Again, we know that box culverts, bridges to box culverts are much more cost effective and have a longer life. And then also Bridge E38, and there's a few photos of us taking this bridge out. Now I've been told that I think the north abutment is in, and we're expecting the south abutment to have a pour out later this week. Again, keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have any major rain, even though we need a little. I'd also like to talk a little bit about Bridge N96. It is part of our comprehensive maintenance program. So what you see here is the concrete that was failing around the rebar on this slab bridge being blown and cut out so that it can be restored. We know that this process can extend the life of a bridge by 15 or 20 years. And so it's significant that we continue to maintain these, take care of what we have. Also, this last year, we've been working on what I call the baby boxes. And so this is a series of smaller box culverts that were built with WPA money. They can easily be replaced by pipes, which we know is more efficient. What you're also seeing in this photo is we've really changed the way we approach our structures. You're seeing riprap be placed. We're really focusing on the exit velocity of these pipes so that we can keep our drainage ways from getting wider and deeper. It's really important to the future of Lancaster County. What are we looking at for next year based on what was approved in the budget? Early this morning, you approved the construction award for Bridge C-284 on Agnew Road. This will be a bridge to box culvert project. This bridge has had a number of issues, and I think it's really important that we get it replaced before we have to close it. And then in addition to that, we're looking at Bridge Q110, which you approved last week for county bridge match money, X129 on Panama Road, and N114 south of Denton. And the plan is to bid all of these bridges this fall so that we can get the most aggressive construction pricing for them, because if I have a chance, I'm going to try to slip in one more bridge with the funding allocated, of course. Bridge replacement projects, we have one more project that we've been working on that I want to be sure that we talk about, and that is Bridge F201. That's up about 27th and Arbor Road. This is a federal aid project that has been funded with funds from the MPO, and we are in the process of working on the preliminary engineering for that. Lastly, as I wrap up my conversation with bridges, I'd like to talk about the standby projects. So we're hopeful that if we can get really aggressive pricing on the 4 bridges that we've had funding allocated, that we might be able to slide in one more bridge, and we'd like to have this list of bridges available should more funding become available, either from getting really aggressive pricing or from additional federal monies. That's why we go ahead and add them to the standby list. And then as we look forward in the future, for the next 5 years, these are the 6 bridges that I would really like to focus on. Again, these are bridges that are in Lancaster County that are on that poor scale or no longer meet the needs of County Engineering Department. I'd also like to talk about pavement tonight and paving needs. This is based on our latest traffic count numbers. We now have about 5.5 miles of road with more than 400 cars a day on it. In addition to that, roads that have 300 cars or more a day, we have about 21 miles of that. That means we know that it takes more time to maintain these roads, and it would really make more sense to have them paved. We continue to work on this. It was nice to get Southwest 14th Street off the list. However, we have another roughly 5.5 miles that we need to work on. We continue to work on our GIS culvert database. What we're trying to do is to predict the culverts that are in most need of being replaced. Our goal is to inspect these culverts every 4 years. What we're trying to do is make sure that we have the safest culvert system for our residents in Lancaster County. Just a quick look at what a failing culvert looks like. It looks something like these photos shown here. We did use some ARPA money, and we're hoping that if there's more ARPA money available, that we could use more ARPA money to replace culvert pipes around Lancaster County. What do those culvert replacements look like? They look like the photo here. These were designed by 2 consultants, Benish and Associates and the Shimmer Associates, locally, so that we could get out these 60 culvert replacements, and I think they're going to make a real difference to the citizens of Lancaster County.
And how many culverts do you have sort of on deck in case more shows up?
It's a really good question, Commissioner Flowerday.
Like, don't get me wrong. I understand that you can spend all of it if I give it to you.
So, we were talking about that in the office because it's kind of a fine line, especially if we're going to reach out and have a consultant design the rest of them. That it's a little bit of at risk, because I'm sure if we do that, you won't necessarily want to. If there's not more money, I'll have to find a way to absorb that in my budget. But that being said, we could easily come up with another 30 to 60 culverts. And 60. And we need to remember that the $2.5 million that was allocated didn't cover all 4 sets of plans for this. They really only covered, I'm going to say 2.75 or 2.7.
So roughly it's $1 million per 30. Very, very rough.
I'd say if we were going to be really rough in this market, I would still say it's probably maybe like 1.2 to 1.5 million dollars per 15 to 16. Yeah. So depending on where we land, yeah,
That's about $100,000.
and $100,000 for engineering. Yeah.
Okay.
So road projects that were completed or in progress in FY.
Actually, I asked a question. real
Sure.
quick. Sorry, I got called about the bridge at Martell Road, and I don't know the number. That one you've done some work on or not? Can you just
So
remind me
that
where
is
one's
Bridge
at?
R202, and there's probably people behind me. They're being like, maybe like grimacing a little bit. So staff had hoped that we could fix that structure. And when we did more evaluation on it, we think now we're going to need to replace that structure. So that's the good news and the bad news. The reality is the fix was going to be about as much as a new box culvert. So you reach a certain point where you just need to go ahead and design the new box culvert. And so we have started working on that, but I don't have an anticipated completion date on it yet. And I didn't ask for funding for another box culvert.
Okay.
So
it's
we'll see how that
not currently on the
turns
list.
out.
Okay.
Road projects completed or in progress for FY 2023. We're currently working on about 10 and a half miles of engineering for road projects. We did 2 miles of new pavement. I was super excited to get that new pavement open before the end of May. We did 2 miles of overlay with additional countywide pavement repairs, and we did about 26 miles of pavement preservation. And so chip seal and fog seal is what we're doing. What the goal is to maintain the surface of that asphalt before we have to go ahead and do an expensive overlay or replace it altogether. Even with an aggressive maintenance program this year, we did slip just a little bit. And I think this is really a result of some of the extreme temperatures we had this last year, both on the low side and those 100-degree plus streaks we have are really hard on pavement. We do have about 49 miles of pavement right now that are going to need maintenance in the next year, and so we're going to continue to work on that. Road projects proposed for the current budget year, engineering, just a little under 14 miles of road improvements, which is super significant, that will be done by and large by the engineers that are behind me in the audience tonight. Right away on future projects, we're going to look at acquiring about 8.25 miles of right-of-way grading and paving, 4 miles this next year. And so what does that really mean? That's the 3 miles of 98th Street from A to Old Cheney, and the 1 mile of North 98th Street from Adams to Holdridge. That's significant to that over 300 and over 400 number that I talked to you about earlier. We'll continue to look at emergency repairs. We were happy to see less emergency repairs during the last year, but it becomes very temperature and weather dependent. We'll continue to preserve our pavement countywide, and we'll continue to put the emphasis on, of course, maintaining that, because I don't want to come to you with pothole counts, because that is not a measure of success. What are we looking at? First thing in the spring, we're looking at that grading and paving project for 98th Street. We rushed out. People worked really hard to get these plans out, and then we really were snagged by the change in regulations for the bats. And so the contract's been let, and you may see some tree removal yet this fall, but for sure we'll see it before the April 1st deadline next year. Saltillo Road keeps moving along. We believe that we'll be approved to start buying the right-of-way for the Saltillo corridor sometime in December or January. It's been a little slow because the state has wanted to wait until they were complete with the South Beltway, and we're trying to decide what complete is right now, because they've been substantially complete for a while, but we still haven't been given the go-ahead on this. They did open Saltillo this week, which is exciting. We have a lot of people moving a lot more freely around Lancaster County. We do expect the total cost of the Saltillo Road project to be somewhere around 14 million when it's all said and done, which will make it one of the largest construction projects Lancaster County has ever had. This is a 90-10 split, so 10% is the responsibility of taxpayers of Lancaster County, and we are excited to improve this corridor. We're also looking at upgrades to South 68th Street from Firth to Stagecoach. I think it's important for me to point out that these two projects are rolling along and they're in sync with each other to happen in the same year, which could be awkward for Southern Lancaster County that already has construction fatigue. I don't want to jinx it, but I think that it could happen that we could have some snag with one or both of these projects that, because they're federally funded, that could push them later. Hopefully we can get at least one of them to go in 2025. And if we do get lucky enough to have two of them go, then we're just going to say we were lucky and it's inconvenient for hopefully a short period of time. Fletcher Avenue is another project that we're currently working on in our office. We're excited to be cranking along on that. The cost of right-of-way acquisition and construction is beyond the 5-year program, but I do think it's important to point out it is a 80-20 project also. North 14th Street, different street, same story. Let's get a safe corridor to Raymond Central and to the people who travel out of the city in that direction. This is also a very expensive project. As you see the bottom line number, a total of little over $11 million. This is also an 80-20 split, and it will make a major difference in Lancaster County to get this road widened with appropriate shoulders put on it. Northwest 56th Street is just maybe, I don't know, 200 feet out of the city limits. That being said, we're also looking at funding this street 80-20 with MPO funds. We are currently working on the design, and its cost is also a little beyond that 5-year commitment, but we're proceeding along. And if we could go sooner, I think sooner would probably be better, especially now that the new high school is open. We did close this road at the request of the security for the air show. And I can assure you that a lot of people were not very happy that day, because I did go out myself, and that road gets used a lot. So
That school will be at capacity next year, so.
yeah. 98th Street, A-0. Also an 80-20 project. I always remind everyone that we have a fuse on this with the landowners, that this road has to be constructed by 2030 or the right-of-way reverts back to the original property owners. So our hair's a little on fire for this one. Nevertheless, we are following the federal process because it's 80% funding. We did have to terminate the contract with our engineer last year at the request of the Federal Highway Administration because they wanted a full environmental assessment done on this corridor. Now that we have interviewed and hired the engineer for the project again, they think maybe they don't need the full environmental assessment. And if they do decide that, we're just going to be happy because it means that we can get the project done sooner, and this is a project that does really need to get done. Other pavement projects that we're looking at, of course, 98th Street, Old Cheney Day. Rome, you have to wait 9 more days to find out what the bids are for that.
Well, be sure you call me.
We will, as soon as we find out, we will call you. I'm hoping, because again that we're doing a fall bid for that we get some really aggressive pricing. 68 South 68th Street. It's about 1.3 miles on the north side of Hickman. We are currently working on that. It would be nice if we could get that 1.3 miles caught up so that we could do the whole corridor at once. I don't know if we can make it, but we're going to try. And then lastly, I'm going to put this slide up. And this slide shows other road projects that are on standby, because I do think there's a chance at additional federal aid dollars for some of these corridors. You'll notice in yellow 162nd Street. We're hoping that we can find the opportunity to get that paved. The citizens in that corridor were promised pavement in 1974 as a farm to market route, and some of them are a little cranky that it hasn't been paved yet. And so,
Ones that are still alive.
That thought went through my head. I didn't say
remember,
it
they
aloud.
they have come to this meeting before, and so it's kind of interesting not to see them tonight, but I'm sure I'll hear from them. West Van Dorn Street is the road shown in purple on the map. This could connect, if we could do a joint project with Seward County, this could connect our city and our county to Pleasantdale, and you would have a nice paved route all the way in. It is also a higher traveled area. The red on the map is 148th Street. We have a study from 2018 that says that dramatic improvements need to be made there. We continue to look for a funding source for that. And then, of course, everybody's favorite project to talk about, well, I switched the colors there. In green is 148th Street. In red is the East Beltway corridor. And so we continue, and I've appreciated your support during the last legislative session. I know it was disappointing that we did not get anything across the finish line, but I have been working diligently to make sure that this next time we get closer than we were last time. Other projects that we expect to do in FY 25 to 29, you can see them on the map. I previously discussed them. With that, my future focus will continue to be on maintaining what we have and being good stewards of the money that has been dedicated to Lancaster County, as well as working on those bridges and getting bridges that are on that poor list off the poor list. I think it should be a goal. I mean, if we could get so we didn't have any bridges that were rated poor, or any bridges that were scour critical, that would be like my engineering dream of the year. And then I just want to note that between 2016 and 2024, with the 3 bridges that we have in progress, that we have actually replaced 33 bridges on our inventory. And so that's significant. And that, I mean, a lot of those bridges were closed before we could get to them. So it's significant to get those roads open in Lancaster County. We continue to video inventory our roads so that we can have the best data should there be a FEMA event, that we're prepared with documentation to show how we maintain those roads. And we do have a Facebook site and a county website where we keep up-to-date information on our roads. And lastly, I always want everyone to know that I'll continue to advocate for additional funding. Whatever money, Commissioner Flowerday, you think you should dedicate to our department, myself and the people behind me, we're prepared to design whatever road or bridge we need to design so that we can get it spent in order to make Lancaster County a better place.
Never doubted it for a minute.
I appreciate that. And so, did we have any members of the public join us tonight?
It does not look like we do, but I will say it aloud, just in case. Are there any members of the public that wish to testify on this, at this hearing? And I see none.
I'll just ask if you as commissioners had any comments then.
I have a question on 148th Street. I think that you were talking about South 148th Street. A lot of that road was milled and then covered over, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. Okay, so is it just through the wear and the tear, or what is it that's...
So 148th Street is one of those roads that it fits in NDOT's new program to widen it because the lanes are 11 feet or less. We have been working on it, and we've discovered something interesting about 148th Street, and that's that when we cored it, it has 13 to 15 inches of asphalt. So what's happened over the years is the surface has deteriorated. They came in and they milled off 2 inches and put 3 back. It really has a lot of traffic on it, and so it's similar to South 68th Street. It's unforgiving if you make an error, and so we just know that it would be better if we could get that widened out to that full 28-foot wide section, really from Highway 2 all the way into Waverly. It does act as the de facto East Beltway now. And it just has a shocking amount of traffic on it, and it has a shocking amount of traffic on it with I believe the median speed is 72 from the last time we studied it, so it is significant. Yeah.
And in the morning, when I do try to get on it, it is packed with traffic.
Any other questions, comments?
Really great numbers, Pam. Kudos to everybody, because this is my 5th year of sitting here, and maybe the fact that nobody's here tonight also talks about the progress that's being made, the fact that, 98th Street's now becoming a reality on both ends of that, and just the amount of bridges, the amount of paving. Kudos to everybody.
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
work.
I
Good
re-
work inevitably gets ignored, right?
Right.
I was thinking the same thing. I remember the number of bridges when I first became a commissioner that were, it was like overwhelming. How do we handle this and what do we do? I also wanted to acknowledge that all of the staff that you did bring tonight, thank you for doing that. Even though you are the one we see the most, we do see some of the other members, but we know that there is this team behind the scenes making sure all the work happens on a daily basis. And thank you for giving up even more of your time by coming here this evening. We appreciate it.
The individuals that are behind me are just as dedicated and passionate as I am about infrastructure, about finding more efficient ways to get plans done and projects done. And it's, it really is a humble honor to be their leader. And so it means a lot to me that they're here tonight. And trust me, they are our next generation of engineers to lead Lancaster County.
Well, I think that I'm the only commissioner who has been here before you came on.
That is true.
Yeah, and I really do want to say, I think that you have made some tremendous progress, and I want to thank you on the behalf of the county.
You're welcome, Commissioner Amison.
With that, with no further public testimony, I believe we can close the public hearing.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Hess,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte. Yep. Flowerday,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
This is a short hearing.
Oh,